What's up, you guys? It's Erin. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I come to you today with more foundation content. I know I just uploaded an entire video all about foundation, light coverage, tinted moisturizer, so go check that out if you're into that sort of thing. But I just received a new released foundation through the Actually app, so I wanted to get a review up for you, and it is the LAWLESS Conceal the Deal Long Wear Full Coverage Foundation. So my last foundation review did really well, so I thought that you guys might want to see this one reviewed as well, and I have been testing it out and I have some thoughts. But before we get into the foundation review, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. And yeah, we just post all about relatable beauty content, and let's just get into the video. So you probably already saw that I am barefaced. I'm going to apply it with you, obviously, but I have tested this out quite a few times, so this is not my first impression on this foundation or anything like that. I think it's more helpful if I come to you with some more thoughts on it before I give you a video. So before I get into applying the foundation, let's just talk about it a little bit. It is the LAWLESS Conceal the Deal Full Coverage Foundation. Here is what it looks like out of the box. It has a cool little, I don't know what you call that, pointy applicator, and it's really thin. We'll go over the texture. It has this black packaging, which I think is interesting. I'm not gonna lie though, I like when I can see how much I've used up with a foundation, but this is pretty liquidy with that ball in it, so you would know if you were out of it. You just wouldn't get any more out. But yeah, I wish this was clear, but that's just like really nitpicky. As far as formula goes, I just have it pulled up on Sephora here. It is described as a long-wearing, lightweight fluid foundation that delivers modern full coverage with a self-setting natural matte finish, vegan and silicone-free. It is full coverage, natural finish. I'm just going down the line. I know I already said these. It says it's good for normal, dry, combination, and oily, so it claims to be good for all skin types. I think I mentioned this in the intro, but I did receive this. Not technically, I don't know if you want to call it PR, through the Actually app, where I just have to give a Sephora review on this foundation, so I did not pay for it with my own money. I have tried some other goodies from LAWLESS that I received through Actually. The Baby One eyeshadow palette, I really enjoyed that. It's a beautiful eyeshadow formula. And then their mascara they just came out with, the One and Done mascara, I think it was called. I like it, but it's not my favorite mascara ever. It's just not my personal preference. But LAWLESS claims to be like a clean beauty brand. They're part of the Clean at Sephora program. This is $39 for 1 ounce, and I believe they have 28 shades. And I got the shade Champagne, which is a light rosy peach. Light with rosy peach undertones, which I think it works pretty well for me. When I apply it, it looks light, and I'll go over why. It says that you can prep the skin with their Hydrating Primer serum. We're just going to apply a Hydrating Primer. Shake well because it's really thin and has that ball in there to shake it up. High, medium to full coverage. Apply to the center of your face and blend outward in circular motions with your favorite synthetic foundation brush. It also says that you can apply this with a sponge, and to blend it into your skin even more, you can go in with a damp sponge and kind of blot over the foundation. And then it does say Annie's tip, which Annie LAWLESS is the owner of the company. When selecting your shade, note that each shade dries down slightly deeper than when applied wet due to high all-natural pigment content in the formula. Which is interesting. It's the second foundation in a row I've tested out that says it starts off darker and then basically starts off lighter and then basically oxidizes to a darker shade. Just makes it difficult, like if you were picking it out in store what shade you should get. But I'm glad that I picked the shade I did because it definitely blends into my skin after it's been on a little bit. But enough chatting, let's just apply this foundation. I'm gonna put my hair up. My favorite clippies. Okay, so I already applied my brows, and I'm definitely going to apply a hydrating primer. I'm gonna go in with this silicone-free priming moisturizer. It's one of my favorite hydrating primers, and it just works well with so many different foundations. I'm gonna go in with quite a bit because it's a little bit thicker, and while I'm applying this, I'll just kind of talk about my experience with this foundation. So I've worn it a couple times, and then last night I wore it for a full 8 hours. And I have some thoughts. It definitely does look light when you apply it, and I've applied it with a brush. It looks really nice with the brush, and I really haven't been into the sponges in the last couple of months. I've been much more into brushes, so that's how I applied it, and I really did enjoy it that way. And it definitely doesn't need to be fully set like it describes. It's more of a satin matte, and it lays down. And my only complaint was after a few hours, it kind of just looked really dry, like in my cheeks and my forehead and chin, just kind of dry and flaky and emphasized dry skin. I don't know if that's because I was wearing a mask or if I didn't prep my skin well enough, but I would definitely say, like, other than my under eyes, I would avoid setting this foundation because it's already pretty matte as it is. But I just wanted to give you a kind of disclaimer on what my thoughts were already. But let's go ahead and try it again. I'm going to put some on my hand, like that much. You really don't need a lot with this. I'm going to go ahead. I don't really know, like, if this is synthetic. I think it's synthetic hairs, but this is the Luxie Airbrush foundation brush. I'm going to go ahead and work it in my brush. It says to start in the center of your face. My preference is to start in the outer part of my face, but I'll do it for the sake of this video. I like to kind of work my way in, just so it's not like cakey. But I can definitely get a lot out of one kind of pump's worth, if you will, even though this doesn't have, you know, pumps on it. But I can definitely get a lot out of a small amount of this foundation, a lot of coverage out of it. And it blends into the skin really nicely. Maybe I should zoom you guys in. I look like a raccoon. But it blends into the skin really nicely with the brush. And it does even out the skin, as you can see. But I wouldn't say that it's necessarily a full coverage foundation. I have some blemishes over here that they were a little bit more intense the last time I wore this, but they were definitely peeking through. At least I don't like to cake up my foundation and apply a lot. So for the one layer that I apply, it's definitely more of a medium satin matte coverage, if you will. You can see it looks pretty light, but we'll see if it kind of blends in to my skin over the next couple of minutes here. And I don't get any like brush streaks or anything like that. With like really glowy foundation, sometimes you get that. It just looks really nice with a brush. And every time I've applied this, I really enjoyed it right after applying it. But my issue is, like, a couple hours later, it kind of just starts to become dry and flaky. But I definitely applied more hydrating primer than I did the first couple times, and I think it looks better. But if you like a natural matte foundation, sorry, I'm just continuing to blend while I talk, I think you'd really like this. It does emphasize a little bit of texture on my nose. And then I did notice after a few hours, it did kind of collect in my nose here. So I'm really going to try to blend it in. But that is what the foundation is looking like. I am going to work in an hour or two, so I'm not going to do anything intense, but I'll speed you up and let's just do a little relaxing beauty montage while I finish my makeup, and then I'll come back with some thoughts. Alright, that is the final quick makeup look. I'll link down below what I used, but I kind of showed it. Really simple because like I said, I am going to work in a little bit here, so I don't want it to be too over the top. But actually I didn't set this foundation at all except for my under eyes because I used the ColourPop Pretty Fresh concealer, and it's definitely a little more dewy and was just creasing under my eyes. But I definitely think if you're like me and you have like combo leaning dry skin, I don't use a ton of setting powder to begin with, but this feels fully set without setting it. I mean, I used a powder, blush, and bronzer, like a cream to powder highlight. But I definitely think this is actually a naturally setting foundation that you don't really need to cake this on with powder or anything. I definitely think it would be more dry if you set it with powder. Hopefully this isn't washing me out too much. But I would say my skin looks pretty flawless. I feel like it's covering more than it did the last time I used it. And it looks really nice. I wish I could report back to you guys how it was wearing at work, but I'm going to be honest, I work 12-hour shifts overnight and I will just be too busy and exhausted to update you guys, at least for this video. Maybe I'll try to comment down below how it wore, but no foundation really looks good after a mask for 12 hours and running around. But I really do like this foundation. My only complaint about it would be that after a few hours it can look a little dry, so I would avoid setting powder if your skin can tolerate it, because this definitely sets itself. But overall, I think this foundation is a win. We'll see if over time it beats my favorite matte foundation, which is the Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear Weightless Foundation. I absolutely love that one. That's a new one I tried this year, and it's my favorite like matte satin long-lasting foundation at the moment. But I definitely think that this could be a contender for the top place because it is just beautiful. If you're looking for a more satin matte foundation that you don't need to set, that's medium to full coverage. I definitely think it could be built up to full coverage, but it's definitely like a heavy medium coverage to start. I like the thin texture. I definitely love it with the brush. And yeah, I really enjoy this foundation. And I think I give it my stamp of approval. So overall, yeah, I really enjoy this foundation. I'd probably get it like 4.5 out of 5 stars just because it can be a little drying if you're not careful. But overall, the coverage is gorgeous. It doesn't need to be set, and I like the thin kind of serum-y texture that this has. It's not like thick like a lot of other matte foundations. And let me know what you guys think. I think it looks really nice personally. But that is it for this foundation review. Let me know down below in the comments if you will be picking this foundation up if you are into Lawless products. And if you like single product reviews like this, a couple other ones I did like this really did well, so I thought I would review this foundation for you guys. Like this video, subscribe to my channel, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.